Orimonk.
Hello everyone! In this video, we'll show you how to play Crystal Age, a strategy and fantasy game recommended for players over 12 years old, from 1 to 4 players with an approximate duration of 30 to 120 minutes. The objective of this game will depend on the game mode we play. In solo mode, it will be to defeat one Lord of Corruption. In cooperative mode, it will be to defeat as many Lords of Corruption as players are in the game. In the competitive mode, it will consist of holding 3 turns in the center of the crater. Setup. First, prepare the map of Ansel by joining 4 kingdoms, leaving the crater in the center. Then, prepare the 4 creature decks by placing in each of them as many copies of each different creature as players are in the game. Each deck has 6 different creatures. Add 2 crystal fragments for each player to the crater deck. Once done, shuffle them and place the decks next to the board. Deploy the 4 Lords of Corruption. Place a Guardian miniature blocking the entrances to the crater. In each of their bases, insert 2 destruction gems, a smoke bomb in the square in front of each of them, and a potion on each square adjacent to a smoke bomb. Place the attack dice and damage counters. Then, give a random hero to each player. Each of them places their miniature in 1 starting square. To track the life reserves of the heroes, you can use 20-sided dice or use our app, which you can download by scanning the QR code in the manual. Each player rolls a blue die. Whoever gets the highest roll will be the starting player. Once this is done, everything's ready to start playing. Game round. In each round, beginning with the starting player, each one will perform the 2 following phases. Movement phase. Move your hero by choosing one of the 3 types of movement. Walk, you move 1 square. Jogging, you move 2 squares. Run, you move 3 squares, but then you can only perform the action, fight against a hero, or dominate or destroy corruption. You won't be able to cross a square occupied by an opposing hero. You can move in any direction, but you can't retrace your steps in the same turn. When you enter a portal, you can move to another kingdom. If you end your movement where there's a potion, remove it from the game and recover 3 lives. If you end your movement where there's a smoke bomb, you can keep it and use it at the beginning of combat to increase your initiative to 10. Action phase. After moving, perform one of the following actions. Fight against corruption. Draw cards from the creature deck of the corresponding zone: wall, forest biome, wasteland biome, or crater. If your move was walking, draw 2 cards and choose one. If it was jogging, draw a single card. Then, fight against the creature. All Crystal Age cards have 4 attributes and their own abilities. Initiative determines who starts the combat. Attack. It's the number of dice of the given color that are rolled to attack. Each color of die represents a level of corruption. The higher the level of corruption, the better the results. Defense. Each die inflicts 1 point of damage when it equals or exceeds the opponent's defense. Life. When life reaches 0, the opponent is defeated. Abilities. There are 9 different abilities to use during the game. With them, you can gain life, modify the results of the rolls, or deal damage points. If you draw a crystal fragment card, choose one of the Lords of Corruption to face them. Each combat follows these steps. Pre-combat. At the start of the combat, the 2 fighters apply their pre-combat abilities. In addition, they can use a smoke bomb to determine their initiative. Whoever has the higher initiative, or in the case of a tie, whoever has triggered the combat, begins their attack round. Attack round. Stage 1. Offensive. Roll the attack dice of the corresponding color and use their offensive abilities. Stage 2. Defensive. Then, the opponent applies their defensive abilities. Stage 3. Damage. The attacker can spend destructive gems to cause unblockable damage points. They then apply the damage points caused. Now begins the Rival's attack round. This process is repeated until one of the 2 is eliminated. When fighting against a creature or a Lord of Corruption, a random player will perform their actions. The creature will roll combat dice and will have abilities according to the deck they appear in. When defeating a creature or a Lord of Corruption, you can keep their cards and use their abilities in the next action phases. If, when you draw creatures, one or more creatures you control appear, discard them and draw until one or more creatures that aren't under your control are revealed. Fight against a hero. When you end your movement in a crater square occupied by another hero, you fight against them following the rules described above. When a hero is defeated, they are eliminated from the game. They give their belongings to the one who defeated them. In addition, the hero who is defeated then gains 6 lives. If they weren't defeated by a rival hero, their belongings are returned to the board. Get the favor of the Guardian. When you are in a square adjacent to the Guardian, you can take the Guardian's challenge to get its favor. First, you suffer as many damage points as destruction gems the Guardian has in its base. Then, roll your attack dice and use only your offensive abilities. You can spend destruction gems. Steal 1 gem from the Guardian's base for each damage point inflicted. If you manage to inflict 4 damage points with an attack, you keep the miniature and get its power. If you fail the test, the Guardian's life regenerates and takes the hero to the portal of the opposite kingdom. In solo and cooperative modes, embed 6 gems to the Guardian. Its life will be equal to the number of gems in its base. For each damage point inflicted, it loses one of its gems, but players won't be able to use them. Its life doesn't regenerate. Dominate or destroy corruption. This action triggers the end of the game. When you are in a crater square and you perform this action, place your hero in the center. Once done, you won't be able to get out of it. Depending on the game mode, you'll perform one action or another. Competitive mode. Dominate corruption. Draw a creature card from the Crater Creature deck and fight. Repeat this process your next 2 turns. If you survive 3 rounds in the center of the crater, you win the game. If there's another hero in the center of the crater, you must fight them to take their place. Solo and cooperative mode. Destroy the corruption. Fight against an available Lord of Corruption. If you defeat as many of them as players are in the game, you win. In cooperative mode, there can be more than 1 hero in the crater, being able to face a different Lord of Corruption each turn. And so far the tutorial on how to play Crystal Age, a very strategic game in which you'll test your courage and strength against corruption.
Orimonk